Hi, everyone. Welcome back. This is our next interview for our Pepper podcast six-pack series, and we are delighted, overjoyed, thrilled to introduce you to Jessica Green. She is an accomplished actress, director, content creator, and editor. Absolutely could not have created this piece without Jessica. Very grateful. And we are really happy to be here with Katie Brow, also our sound engineer for the podcasts. And hi, Jessica.
Hi, Caris.
How are you?
Doing pretty good.
Good. You have like the best setup in the back here. You put me to shame.
The fire. Little ambiance for the COVID time.
That's right. You're doing pretty good. Good. So, Jessica, I have been starting these with just asking people to just tell a little bit about yourself and how you got into your many different parts of your creative career, if you would.
Sure, absolutely. So I have been an actor for basically my entire life. I went to Florida State, got a theater degree, spent some time in Los Angeles, and eventually made my way to New York. And I've been working in film my entire adult life, starting as an actor and then moving into editing, directing, producing, and content creator. It's been a really fun journey. I just love working in film, and I love the way that it all fits together to tell a story. And I love having the opportunity to work from so many different angles as a storyteller within the medium.
That's great. And you've had such a great opportunity to do that with different shows that you've worked on. Not only have co-created and acted in Scratch This. It's an incredible series,
yes,
which is where you're welcome. We're part of where we met at different festivals, New Jersey Web Fest and a few others. You were the editor for Here We Wait,
yes,
as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so you've done quite a bit on the circuit.
Yeah, I really love working in the web series world. I think it gives you an opportunity to dive deeper into stories and really tell your stories without limits. So it's a lot of fun. I've been very privileged to work on several web series in the past few years in different capacities, and a lot of editing work in series, and it's been a joy.
Great. I find that too. You can, well, within limits of whatever your budget is, of course, but you can, tell the story. Tell the story in the length of time that you want to. And that can happen a lot of the time, which has been my experience in the editing process. Fortunately, when you have a good editor like yourself to work with, it makes putting together the story and what you have a vision as a content creator and a director, it makes it not only really enjoyable because you're collaborating with really great people, but I learn a lot, and you understand really how you can put the story together with all the footage you have. So just to talk a little about your process, Jessica, what is your approach to a process as an editor when you I handed you the drive. I gave Jessica all the stuff that we shot. It was like, in my head, like, what do we do with this now? Even though I, had an idea of it. Walk us through a little bit of what you do.
Oh, wow. Okay. So the first thing is just sort of organizing all the footage and getting familiar with what's there and what's in the script, how they may be the same or different. And then I just sort of start building. I look at the takes. I look at them to see what is best performance-wise, what is best technically. Sometimes there's a decision that has to be made one over the other. Sometimes it's just very clear that take 3 is the best overall. And sometimes I can just grab one line from take 3 and then I go back to take 2. So,
which we did a lot.
We did, yes.
Which we're able to do.
Absolutely. So that's basically the beginning, and then you just start molding the story together. It's pretty instinctual for me, so I don't know really how to explain it, but the story sort of reveals itself to me, and I just put it in the timeline the way it wants to live.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And then we for everyone, so they kind of have a little bit of an understanding. Jessica shows me what she has. We go back and forth with this is working here. Let's take a look at this other shot that might be a little bit, different, or tell the story in another way, or a way that I had in mind that might lead to something else in the story. And we go back and forth and work, in a really collaborative way, which was, as I had said, really great to work with Jess. The great part about the collaborating with an editor who's skilled is that they're prepared, they have everything right in front of them, and they know where to access things, which is what I needed. So Jess had 3 screens: the footage, what she was putting together, and then something else I forgot on the other screen. Timeline, that's right. So we could really kind of examine things, put them in, see what worked, see what didn't work. And that was a huge advantage, of course, to creating the story. As a director, you have this creator, you have the story in your head, then you have all this footage in front of you, and Jessica puts it together, and then we kind of parse it out and go back and forth. And that was, for me, a really great process. So
I'm so glad. It was a great process for me as well.
Yeah. Great. Thank you. So in any career highlights at this point that you want to talk about, things that you've been really excited that you've done or have been able to be involved in?
Well, my web series Scratch This is in post-production for the full first season. It's the first series that I've been a creator on, so I'm very excited about that.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm also one of the lead actors, and I'm editing. Surprise, surprise.
Good.
All of the hats, but it's been a really great process so far. We had a pilot out on the web circuit, and that's part of how you and I met, Caris.
Right.
And it did very well, so we decided we'd go ahead and do a first season, and it's been a blast so far. I'm working with 3 extremely talented women, Jody Lauren Miller, Laura Delling-Shea, and Jessica Scher. As well as our crew. Sean McLaughlin is our DP, and it's been really great. It's sort of been a magical experience, all coming together with all of our experience in creating this. So.
And I can say I've seen it. It's fantastic. I've watched it a few times, especially when I need to laugh. It's well done. It's well directed. The acting is terrific. It's great. Shout out to the whole Scratch This team, and to also Neem Basha, New Jersey Web Fest, which is where
Yes.
Jessica and I met. A great thing. One of the great results of New Jersey, and they're accepting submissions now. Go to the page. Anyway, little plug for them.
Well, really, anybody that has a series needs to submit to New Jersey Web Fest.
Absolutely.
I love the Web Fest circuit, and there's been some wonderful, wonderful Web Fests, but I do have a special place in my heart for New Jersey because I've met so many of my wonderful co-creators there.
Echo that, second
Yes.
that, absolutely. So yay, New Jersey. And so I'm glad that that's one of the highlights. And we talked about, you did the editing for another great series, Diane Chen and
Olivia Baptista.
And Olivia, that's right. That was another great show that Miami Web Fest is where I became acquainted with them, and Austin. So shout out to Brian, Miami.
Yes,
and all the
we're
festivals
so
on the
sad
circus.
not to
I
go to
know
Miami this year.
I know. We were gonna premiere in Miami, but next year, Brian.
Yes.
Next year. Everyone keep track of Miami too. I always say the hottest festival on the circuit is Miami.
Oh.
Pun intended, of course. So that's great to know of. And a few other things. When you talked a little bit about your process in approaching an editing project. Was there anything different with Ricochet working with this particular material, the different shoots that we did, putting everything together that was different for you or stood out for you as either challenging or exciting, I hope, or anything that you weren't used to? Yeah.
I really love working with action. So I'm not going to say too much on it, but obviously I think we know that Pepper Ricochet is going to have some action in it. It better, right? So that was really, really fun for me. It was interesting because it was shot in 2 different segments. I really don't know how much I can say about it.
That's okay. That's all right. Just what might have been challenging about that was,
so just having it all live in the same world was probably one of the bigger challenges.
Great.
From the 2 separate shoots.
Great. Yeah. And I think as a director putting it together, I remember saying a few times to you, who wrote this thing? How are we going to do this? That I think was what, we really Jessica and I really worked hard on marrying those two to make sure that the episode was something that lived in the same world, even though there were a couple different locations to it and vastly different locations as well. And more to be revealed on that.
Yes. I'll also say it was one of the few things I've edited that I was also privileged to be on the set for the first part of the shoot. So that was wonderful as well, working with footage that I was already very familiar with. And it was great. It was great.
It's a great segue. I was trying to see how I could tie that in. So tell us a little about what you did at the Lake House, which was our great weekend shoot in Canosa.
Wonderful. Such a gorgeous place to shoot. We had such a good time. Almost didn't feel like working, so it was probably that's a really good sign. I was there. I was DIT, so I was keeping an eye on the footage. I was also doing some script supervision activities, so just sort of making sure that the takes were matching visually, and also keeping an eye on continuity and the script, and a little bit of everything. I had my own video village back there, and
she did. Jessica was in the boathouse area and had a monitor and had everything all set up, which was great. Where we sometimes retreated to get out of the hot sun. That was a hot one that day.
Yeah, I had a good spot that day.
Yeah, you did. You did. So looking ahead, what are some things that you hope to be accomplishing in with your career? Things that you want to be doing?
Wow. Well, it's a little difficult right now. Normally I'd be able to just rattle that off, but I'm just not real sure what the landscape is going to look like when we go into production. So I don't know if this will take a lot of tweaking on goals for people in our positions, such as you and I, Caris, that do produce our own work, or if it's going to come back in a way we don't even expect yet. And
yeah, it's a little tough.
Bigger, better, and easier than ever. So I really don't know. My main passion is acting. So that I will continue forward with. And it's not really up to me how that happens as far as production and things like that. So I'll just move forward that way. And the rest, I guess, is to be seen.
Right. It is. It's a real kind of difficult landscape to navigate right now with so many unknowns, and we don't know about unions. We don't know how we're going to be able to shoot things. We don't, so it's kind of like a more to be revealed, fingers crossed situation. And along the way, though, however, staying creative for everyone who's following Pepper. So Jessica has worked on Ricochet, and then we have another kind of secret episode coming up, confidential. And the two of them are going to be, two of them are going to be married together with what we're anticipating, hoping for a very tight, sassy, sexy, slick animation sequence. So Jess is also, I told her she's stuck with me, so we'll be putting all that together.
No complaints here.
Thank you. Our good fortune. We'll be putting all that together for Montreal for sure, into moving forward into when we're able to get back on the circuit live. So those are some things to look forward to. And I bring that up to say that, we may as creators and Katie and I have already talked about, Katie works with another great content creator producer, Ned Donovan. And Ned and I met in Bilbao. So yet another fantastic festival, which is, so completely near and dear to me, as New Jersey and Miami and all the others. And Ned is doing some podcasts work now, and so we might be moving into a little bit of that in this interim until we can really shoot more and to continue the story along. So might be entailing some of that with some visuals. Who knows? I think there's a lot of things that we can get creative with, and we may have to. So to keep it moving. So any closing comments, any words of wisdom for people that want to edit or getting into the business? And I know you're like a self-made woman in this industry, so you can address that a bit. We've got a little time left.
Sure. Gosh, advice.
Or just thoughts on when, how you started. I was really impressed with your own trajectory into editing.
Sure. So I actually started editing because I was frustrated with um, my own reel as an actor and finding an editor that I felt saw the things that I saw. So, in order to put it together, I started teaching myself editing software and did that, started working on some other friends' reels, and eventually decided that I would turn it into a business. About 3 weeks after I decided to start editing reels as an actual job, a friend of mine came to me and said, I have 3 short films. Would you like to cut them? And I said, I don't know how to cut a film. And he said, I don't have any money. What's the worst that could happen? I give it to someone else and they start over. I said, okay, great. But it actually, the 3 films came out really, really well. We had a fantastic time. And as at the same time, I was sort of moving into producing as well. And I had some opportunities to continue to grow and learn on how to edit for film until eventually I just sort of built up a repertoire and just very naturally eased into being my main job. So yeah, I was very fortunate to be in a good place at a good time where everything just sort of came together and it felt like it was meant to be. And that editing led me into directing. And I like to say that if you take an actor's brain and you take an editor's brain and you put them together, you have a director's brain. So you've got the one side like looking at the performances and the acting, and the other side looking at the shots and how they go together, and it just very naturally went together. So I've also directed some fantastic films that I'm very proud of.
That's terrific. That's great. That's a great way to kind of tie up what our session is. That a lot of us have to do a lot of different things to keep ourselves going. Jessica, I've always said since I met her, since she helped us with our funding trailer for Ricochet. So this is like full circle for us, and of course looking forward to more and beyond. But she cuts like a ninja. This girl, I've never seen someone so fast do something with this, like making magic right in front of me. So, yeah, it's crazy. So, cheers to you. Thank you for participating in our Pepper Podcast 6-pack series, which I still can't get used to saying. And cheers. Looking forward to more. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Welcome.